it's natural. You're not weird. You're not broken, but it's about how you use it, and how you use it now will open up doors in the future.
We welcome John Sevlie, otherwise known as Beefcake Sensei. He was an old teammate of mine back in high school, played basketball together. He also played some middle school tennis, I believe maybe even into his high school years, so we'll touch on that just a little bit. But John has a super interesting journey. I also think he has an Instagram account and social media accounts that are going to really blow up in the next few years. So we're getting him early. We're getting him on the come up. So super excited to talk with John Sevlie. We welcome John Sevlie. John, thank you so much for hopping on Backyard Tennis Interview. How are you doing?
Good, dude. I'm doing great. Just worked out a little bit this morning, ate some sardines, which, big people love that food, but
Yeah. I just tuned into your last YouTube video. It was you
oh yeah.
doing like a little bit of a self-talk almost, or almost like it was like therapy almost in a way. And you're smoking a cigar and doing some lifts.
Oh
I
yeah.
was I found that super entertaining. What got you
Yeah.
first introduced to like doing social media and having YouTube channel, Instagram, stuff like that?
Sure. I mean, I have been posting on YouTube for probably close to 7 years, I think, at this point. And so originally, with training, especially in Olympic weightlifting, a lot of people will keep like notebooks and logs, but I've never liked that just because I'll lose notebooks or something like that. And so I just was like, oh, you can post on YouTube for free. So the nice thing is like I can post my lift also so I can see how it looks technically. And so I've just been posting for a while, but in the last 3 years, I mean, I had my Instagram page started to grow. Well, I started an Instagram page and that started to grow. And so then even how I've like just done social media has changed over time. I never really set out to like grow a following, if that makes sense,
Mhm.
but it's kind of happened.
Yeah. So why did you first kind of start on there if it wasn't to like grow? Was it just to kind of like monitor your stuff then?
Yeah, it was just like a free place to store videos.
Sure.
I mean, I would occasionally post a video that was like more funny, but I kind of knew nobody was gonna watch, if that makes sense. So
Mhm.
my expectations weren't. I was really just doing it because I just enjoyed it. And then a few years ago in the spring, I had a video that went semi-viral. I think it has over 800,000 views, and I like gained 1,000 followers on Instagram from that. And so then after that, it kind of became a little bit of a game. Um, and so yeah, it's just fun, to be honest with you. I just kind of enjoy it. I've got to meet some pretty cool people through it, and yeah, it helps me stay motivated with training and stuff like that. Just like people are interested in my training, and yeah, it just gives me a reason to keep working hard.
Yeah. And I mean, watching your videos and kind of just thinking back, because obviously we were, teammates in, when we were
Mhm.
in grade school, middle school, high school for
Yeah.
basketball, and you were a stud basketball player. But I feel like and this is definitely a compliment, but you are always like, you are a one of one type of person where like you are
Wow. Thanks, dude.
yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I first came across your Instagram, maybe it was a couple years back, and I was like, this really fits. I don't know, this one really hits.
Oh
I
yeah.
found it super entertaining. I'm like, this is gonna super pop off. I mean, you might think it has already, but I think it's gonna grow even bigger as long as you stay at it. But it just kind of fit you well and it was authentic. It wasn't,
Yeah.
it wasn't
Storyteller
forced, if that
John.
makes sense.
Do
What'd you
you
say?
remember that? Storyteller John, your dad's nickname for me.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um,
a little a background. So Isaac and I grew up playing basketball together, and uh, occasionally I have a ton of siblings, so my parents couldn't always take me to basketball tournaments, so I would ride with the Toivanins, and I talked constantly and I always had things to talk about and say. And so I remember I think your dad was getting annoyed, to be honest with you. And I just don't think he wanted to tell me that. Just I don't think he wanted to be like, John, shut up, you know? And so you guys started calling me Storyteller John, but I kind of liked it because it's like, well, I mean, I am kind of a storyteller. And honestly, like the Beefcake Sensei thing does kind of feel like an extension of just like storytelling and just like small formats. Um, it's fun too. So yeah, I appreciate that though. That's a nice compliment. One of
Yeah,
one, dude.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, if you're thinking about, like rare things out there, like a car, like a super, super expensive car, like the most
Yeah,
expensive car is going to be a one of one, 10 aren't made,
yeah,
100 aren't made. So that's kind of where I guess the thought is. But I did ask my dad before doing this, because I think we were chatting maybe a few days back.
yeah. He
And I was
texted
like,
me. He texted me earlier this week actually because I think Travis said like had sent him my Instagram or something like that.
yeah, what did he say? Did he just say, like, I love the Instagram, or
Yeah,
what?
yeah, he's like, Travis said you were a good follow, so I checked it out and I was super impressed. Keep up the good work. And then he's like, I don't even know if this is still your number. Surprise, like I get, yeah. So it was cool. And then we just chatted for a little bit, just asked him
Yeah.
how he's doing. But
I love
yeah.
that. But in preparation to this, I did ask him. I was like, "Hey, do you have any questions for John that I should ask?" And I think he had three of them on here, and maybe the closest thing to that storyteller moment, or a good story, I should say, was, do you remember what book you were reading when you were late to your seventh, or when we were playing a seventh grade uh, game? I think it was in Wisconsin, if I remember it right, and
Um,
you were late to the championship game because you were reading a book. Do you remember what book that was?
vaguely remember this. I vaguely remember this. Was it like the Chronicles of Narnia?
He said it was Pistol Pete.
Oh yeah, it was, dude. I love that guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Pistol Pete.
yeah, Pistol Pete Maravich. I remember, I don't know if he had
Literally
like a
late to the championship game. That's so funny. Late to the championship game because I was reading about Pistol Pete. That's awesome.
I don't remember if we won or lost that game, but I bet we won it. So,
We won it, dude.
um
I think, didn't one year we go perfect? Like we won every single game. I
I'm
think
sure we
so.
did.
It was like
I feel like we
sixth or
had
seventh grade. We won every single game, and it was like I was like, this is my life. I don't even know what losing is. You know.
a
I think we one time beat a team. I remember this. This it was so bad. We beat a team. It was 90-2. And the one shot that they made, their guy, their kind of their go-to guy, just like went down the middle and he just like threw something up over his head. It was just the worst beatdown in middle school basketball history. And it was awesome. I love destroying dudes like that.
Yeah.
I
90
think
to
you're
2.
supposed to feel sad for them a little bit, but I didn't.
Yeah. And I mean, you're the same age, so you've been able
Yeah,
to practice the same amount, and we just
right.
practiced harder up to that point
Yeah,
than those guys. So,
dude, we played hard. Yeah.
yeah. Do you have a fondest memory from your basketball days, specifically high school basketball?
Uh Probably from high school was at Northfield. It was when Ty was out injured. And so at that time, I think it was our senior year. And uh I just I, I like Ty, but he took a lot of shots. So I knew I was gonna get more shots up. You know what I'm saying? And I think I scored almost 30 points. It was my best high school game. And I think I had 15 rebounds and I you went down the middle. We were down by one. You went down the middle and you shot. You missed it. And I grabbed the rebound. I went up and I got just hammered. And then they tried to freeze me. And so they called the timeout. And I knew I was going to make those free throws, dude. I think, I think I averaged making almost 10 free throws a game in high school. Do you remember that? I just
Yeah.
shot free throws. I would shoot like my shooting percentage was terrible, but I was shooting like three actual shots that weren't. I think I averaged like 11 or 12 points a game, but like 9 or 10 of those were free throws. I was shooting so good from free throw line, like 85%. But they just smoked me, and then they iced me. And I remember your dad's like, "Are you gonna make these?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna make these." Like, and then I made one. They called another timeout, and then I went back and I made it again, and it was phenomenal. So that was probably like one of my favorite. I have other memories that pop up in my head, but that was probably one of my favorites because
Yeah.
I think the first time I played varsity at Northfield, I airballed a layup that was on a fast break, nobody guarding me. I just froze, dude. I was like so nervous and I airballed it. And so it felt redemptive to like have my best game of my career there. And then also the next day after that, I was actually there for a weightlifting tournament. I wasn't competing because had some back injuries and stuff like that, but I was just there because Joe was competing and Graham was competing, so I was there. But somebody was like, "Wait a minute, or didn't you just like weren't you just here last night?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah." So it was kind of cool, kind of a cool flex.
Yeah. No, that's a I don't remember that specific game, but I feel like I do remember the free throws, how they called the timeout. So they called the
They
timeout
called
to
two
freeze
timeouts.
you. You made a free throw, then they called another timeout.
Yeah, yeah, and I just knew it. I knew I was gonna make them. I just knew it. I had no doubt in my mind that I was
Yeah.
gonna make them.
I
Uh,
rem the it would have been our junior year. Northfield, they I always thought this was so weird, but so in high school basketball, you can play six halves of basketball. You can play a half of JV, and then you can play a full game of varsity. So you can play six total
yep,
halves or six total what? Yeah, because we didn't have
yeah.
quarters, or three halves, I should say. And Northfield would play their starting five, like their best five players on varsity. They would play a half of JV. Do you remember that?
That's correct. I think I do vaguely remember. Vaguely remember being like, "What are these guys doing?" And then I also felt kind of good because I was like, "Okay, well, if you guys are only up ahead against our JV like by this much, like you guys don't stand a chance."
Yeah.
They were much better, I think, our senior year than they were their junior year. But it was just one of those things where I was like, "You guys are kind of cooked. Like, there's just no way."
What were some of those other top high school memories? I mean, it intrigues me when you bring that one
Yeah,
up. It's
yeah.
not something that's in my brain. So
Oh man. Well, not a top high school memory, but I was working out with a guy who lives in Minneapolis. He's about our age. He played football at St. Thomas, Austin Jokum. Um, he might know the Kellys. He might know some of the Kellys or something because didn't they play football there? But I was talking to him and I was telling him about how we lost to Austin in the semifinals 2 years in a row in our senior year. People, so like you guys kind of always knew me as like a very goody two shoes guy. I didn't date in high school or anything like that. But the girl that I liked at the time was from Austin, and she had gone mega viral back then. She had a song that went viral, and so she was like on the Ellen DeGeneres show and stuff like that. But her and me and her had kind of like a. I always thought she was interested in me. I was interested in her, and this was probably over the course of like 4 or 5 years. But then I remember, dude, how many people were at that game? There was thousands of people there.
yeah, in correction, we there was the finals, back to back finals.
Yep. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The finals. Yeah, not semifinals, back to back finals. How many people there were there though that last year? Dude, it was like I think it was 2 or 3 thousand people. It was insane.
Yeah, I don't.
The
Yeah, I
Civic
don't
Center was
know.
packed.
Yeah, it was definitely the lower bowl was packed, and I remember that specific game because one of my first shots just airball. So for
Yeah,
the rest of the
because there's
game,
nothing behind. Yeah, nothing behind the hoop. But I just remember we had lost it, dude, and I was weeping, bro. I was just bawling, ugly crying. Uh, and then I like look over and I see her and she's watching, and I was just like, oh no, never coming back from this, never
yeah,
coming back from this. So, but it's okay, I'm over it. But
yeah.
actually, I still feel a little bitter. Just I don't know. At times, I just like they weren't better than us. They just were better that those nights. Do you know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? Like they were never like a better team. Just those nights we played them, they were a better team. if that makes sense.
I agree.
Historically, we would whoop their butts, dude. All the way from sixth grade on, we would kick their butts. And then it was just like, oh, I don't know. So maybe I am still a little bitter about that, but
Yeah.
not so much about the girl part, more about the losing part and crying, ugly crying.
Yeah.
So
So it and that was another one of my dad's questions is do you have like a worst high school basketball memory? Would that be your I guess worst memory?
yeah, that's probably my worst one. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is
I'd
just
agree.
so. I we were ranked 2 or 3 for that whole season in the state. It was like De La Salle, Austin, and us. And Austin and us we would go back and forth. We were top 5, I think, that whole season. And it was just we just shot so bad. We turned the ball over so bad. I remember being really angry at our fans because Austin literally had 1,000 plus people show up, and our section was tiny. I was like, "What the heck, dude?" Like, I don't know. I was bitter.
Yeah.
I'm still
I
working through it, apparently.
um so we get done with our high school days, whatnot, and part of your that YouTube video that I watched, where you were smoking a cigar and essentially talking out some stuff. You brought up that for a little bit you didn't really know kind of what you were doing. And when you met
Oh yeah,
your wife, Allie, I believe her name is, you
yeah,
had like $100 to your name. So what did you do after high
yeah,
school for that time
yeah.
period?
Well, I mean, so I always wanted to play. I mean, growing up, I always wanted to play some sort of professional basketball, which I was told was impossible. But then, like, my brother was really successful. Isaac played a year in Europe, like, so I kind of hung on to this dream. I so after our senior year, I had verbally committed to Bismarck State College, which is JUCO, because I was like, frankly, I loved playing with our group growing up, but because we were so balanced, I never felt like I had a chance to actually shine, if that makes sense. But when I played AAU, dude, I would shred. I would like I was dropping 25. I think I averaged 25, 26 points a game my AAU season. Um so I was just like, I need to go someplace where people don't know me, where I can just play my game. Because also growing up, everybody in my family's 6'9" and I'm 6'2". And I knew, and because of that, is you kind of get stuck into certain roles just because your brother was center. Your last 3 brothers were center. And so I was just like, I need to go to a new place, a fresh place. So I looked at Bismarck State College, which is ironically, that's where I worked out this morning, actually. But and I like verbally committed, but I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't realize. I knew kind of like, oh, I got to sign some papers at some point, but I didn't know. I just assumed they would send me papers. You get what I'm saying? And so I was like, I think it was like midway through summer, and I was kind of like, man, I have not signed anything for these guys. And so I texted the coach. I said, hey, when do I sign? Don't I have to sign like a committal sort of thing? And he's
Mhm.
like, oh yeah, we gave away your spot. And I was like, oh crap, what? And so this was around July, early July. And so I kind of had here, I'm gonna shut the door one second.
Yep. Yep.
The family got home and it was distracting me. But I kind of was like, oh, I don't know what to. I kind of had a moment of panic. Long story short, I ended up going to a very small Bible college in the middle of nowhere, North Dakota. I played for a year, but it was kind of rough. The first game of the season, I got a really bad concussion. Like I was saying sentences backwards. That's
Mm.
not an exaggeration. Like I to this day, I still think I have a form of concussion induced dyslexia from it. If I'm really tired, I will take swap out letters from different words and like just swap them around. And I'm not trying; it just happens. So I had a terrible concussion. Also, what was crazy is going into that season, dude. I was the most athletic I've ever been. I touched my forehead to the rim.
No way.
Like, yeah, I was like I was insanely. I started. I was able to windmill. I had a sick poster in practice on a guy, a big guy too, like put back. It was just insane. I felt like I had unlocked something, and then I had that concussion the first game of the season, literally in the first half, and I was out for I think 2 or 3 months. I like couldn't play. Then I come back right in the just before Christmas break. I played in one game, kind of, and nothing, didn't do anything. I was supposed to start actually, and then I had a game where I went off, and I went like crazy. I think I had 30 points, like 16 rebounds, a ton of just went crazy. But I was trailing a play, and a guy was laying doing a layup, and I pinned it on the board, but I had over jumped, and my arm, I wasn't able to retract my arm like to bring it down. So I ended up like falling, and I like tipping like this, and I landed straight on my leg, and I felt a pop in my left knee, and I was like, that's not good. But that was towards the end of the game. And for the rest of the season, I would just take a ton of ibuprofen. And I've never been an ibuprofen type of guy, but I just take a ton of it just so I could like get through games. But I went from touching my head to the rim at the start of the season to barely being able to dunk. It was so pitiful. Then I dropped out of college. No, I transferred to MSUM. I thought about walking on. Then I kind of dropped out of college. I went to India for a few months. I made a connection with a guy there and like coached CrossFit and did trekking stuff. Came back, started college again, dropped out, just had no direction or idea. Um, and started just kind of working, and I started doing CrossFit. So I did CrossFit for probably like 3 or 4 years, which Olympic lifting, it transfers nicely into it. But I never really liked CrossFit. It's like so painful, dude. The workouts, you just hurt. But the gym I was at, the lady that owned it was really good. She was really good. She was a couple points away from going to the CrossFit Games like 2 years or something like that. 2 years in 2 years back to back. And so I was like one of her training partners, and it was a lot of fun. But yeah, then I think at some point I met my wife, and she told me that if I did not finish college, she wouldn't marry me. And so that was kind of when I was like, I had so many credits. I had credits where I was like, oh, I can probably finish this degree if I go and do it. And so then, yeah. And it was around that time when I started posting on, it was like a year after that I started posting on YouTube,
Hmm.
actually. I think it was about a year after, but
Okay.
um yeah. And then my wife and I got married. We worked at the same college that I originally went to, so Trinity Bible College. We worked there. We had we worked for a program that took kids that were like 18, so not kids, but like fresh out of high school, and it was like a missions program. So we would do discipleship stuff, and then we would take them to these different countries for a couple months at a time. And so we did that, and training was kind of sporadic at that time because we'd be gone. Like I spent like 2 months in Africa, you know, just kind of all over. It's hard to train consistently. And then COVID happened, uh, moved on. We moved to Bismarck, where we are now. And I started a tiling business with a buddy. I actually like tiling, but I don't like doing it as a career. And I was like, I'm burning myself out. And then, long story short, I went back to get my master's in counseling,
Here we go.
clinical mental health counseling. So that is currently what I is my like my day job.
Mhm.
And so I just like training. I train. I would love to do some coaching. I think long term, I would love to do some sort of hybrid, because I work mostly with teenage guys, mostly. Um, and so almost like play therapy, but not for children, more like adult, like teenage geared. So I was like, oh man, it'd be so cool to have like a place with a turf, some weights, like a climbing wall, like a basketball hoop, um, like all these different things. Because I also worked at a middle school with kids with behavioral issues prior to finishing my master's, and I mean, that's what I did. I would take kids down and I'd work out and we'd talk about behavior and like growth while working out. We'd play basketball together and it was just a lot of fun. So I'm like, I think long term that would be kind of a fun like a setup. But
Mhm.
I'm just
And
dreaming at this point.
yeah, and I truly think with I mean your talents and kind of your authenticity, like that angle of, counselor and advice kind of giver and your weightlifting, I think that's going to resonate with a lot of people. I mean, is that kind of your angle going into like longer form YouTube
Yeah, I mean,
now?
so like with the longer form YouTube, I've known I've wanted to do it, but I don't have the skill set or time. I guess I have the skill set to edit, but I just don't have the time to do it. Um, but I know people like it, and I also kind of I like lifting. Don't get me wrong, I love lifting, but what I care more about is just people in general. I want to see people do well. Um, and that sounds super pretentious, and I know, and I'm sorry for anybody judging me for that, but it's just like I want people to see do well. I want them to be healthy physically, mentally, uh, spiritually, emotionally, and that is kind of one of the deficits in my content is it's funny and there's a lot of value in funny content. Um, but I knew I wanted to add deeper meaning, and there's things on my mind and in my heart that I'm like I just want to talk about these things. And so it's kind of like, I do talk therapy for a living. So it's kind of me talking about themes that I've seen in counseling. So the cigar video, I think that what was the title? It was like cigar, horny angst, uh and low intensity upper body. Yeah. And so like the horny angst thing, like that was just like a common theme I've seen with young guys is uh also there's like a huge deficit in education on like male puberty, to be honest with you. And so like that's kind of what I'm referring to is like what happens when a guy goes through puberty. Like why do they go through puberty? They go from like having the testosterone of an old woman to that of like um Arnold Schwarzenegger when he was injecting steroids. Like, and they're just like their brain is 10 years away from even being fully developed.
Hmm.
And so they have this horny angst that is a byproduct of testosterone, their body changing, and they don't know what to do with it. They want to have sex, but then at the same time they're like, well, I can't have kids, and so it's like all these different things going around. And it's funny because we knew each other going through this, and I don't know what it was like for you, but for me, I felt like I was going insane, to be honest with you, going through puberty. And then also as a Christian, I was like, I felt almost continually disappointed in myself because of the way my brain would respond to the fact that I have insane amounts of testosterone in my body. And so I always kind of felt this sense of shame and condemnation. Um, so I just have these things in my head and that I like work with clients on, and just like having a place to, I don't know, just verbally process them. And
Hmm.
so, I mean, in my YouTube videos, I did like 2 videos talking about death because my wife's grandfather passed away. And so, I mean, those videos were just like a lot of me processing death. And then also as a dad, talking about it with my son. Because I think as a culture, we're very death phobic. Obviously, it makes sense. Have a fear of death, right? It's
Hmm.
kind of game over at that point. So
Right.
you should be afraid of it to some extent. Um, uh, but uh, I don't want my son to uh I want him to be like exposed to it in an appropriate way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
If Grandpa Ed passed, I don't want him to just be kind of like, what's up with that? I want him to like have sort of a framework for how to think about it. And so this just comes out in my longer form stuff. And yeah, and it would be cool if it grew and I could make a little money off of it. That would be kind of cool too. I am all for making money because I have bills to pay. And if it feels like a hobby, that's kind of a big thing for me with the social media is like I don't want it to feel like work. I want it to feel like fun. I want it to
Hmm.
be a hobby. Um, so and I feel like doing it this way, it feels like that. It feels like it aligns with my values and my goals. And yeah,
Yep.
so
Like I said, and then maybe I'm repeating myself. I think you have a really, really good angle, and I think it's going to resonate with a lot of people, especially a lot of younger people who are into weightlifting and stuff like that. But
yeah,
one of the themes and kind of one of the takeaways, and maybe I'm wrong, with this takeaway of like your message of the video, at least that more recent one is you're quenching your angst, whatnot, and doing that
mhm,
allowed you to pursue other things. And you brought up
yeah,
like
yeah,
playing a bunch of instruments and
yeah,
learning
yeah.
trying to learn a language, stuff like that. So do you think, you know, quenching this angst of maybe some of these pitfalls in life will allow you to do bigger and better things?
Yeah, and I'm not even sure if it's like quenching your angst as opposed to channeling it.
Sure.
That's what it's felt like for me was in that, and this is kind of what I try to teach the young guys I work with. Because I don't work solely with Christians, but a lot of my clients are Christians. And it's like, hey man, like first off, like this process you're going through is good. It's natural. You're not weird, you're not broken. Um, but it's about how you use it, and how you use it now will open up doors in the future. And so, um, kind of understanding biology, like so like why would a guy want to have sex, right? Well, I think it's funny that we're talking about this on your tennis podcast, but uh why would a guy want to have sex? Well, I think the most like first thought that comes to your brain is, well, it feels good. But I would argue that that is only a secondary or a tertiary reason for sex. The primary is a like when you do sex, theoretically, you create children, and in doing that, you create an existential purpose and meaning for your life, and that brings long-term value beyond, like there's this idea of like post-nut clarity. Have you heard that term? um but by you don't have post nut clarity when you're having like a safe, intimate, meaningful sex that creates a human. It creates long term purpose and meaning and value that continues to give. And so, like, what I'll tell, like, if I'm working with a 15-year-old and his mom caught him watching porn, he's feeling embarrassed and ashamed. I'm like, first off, dude, you're not broken. Like, you wanting to do this is normal and it's good, but I don't want you to think that it's only about getting off. Like this is your desire to become a father and create long-term meaning for yourself. This is your biology speaking. And then so it's like, okay, but right now you are 15, dude. You're 10 years away from having your brain fully developed. So how do we take this and channel this so that someday you will find a woman who you think is hot and will want to have lots of sex with you and create children? Well, you take that angst and you use it to develop areas of your life. So for me, I started playing instruments. I tried to learn languages. I played lots of sports. Um, I traveled. Me and my buddies in the college dropout years, dude. Me and my buddies did so many road trips that were crazy. Like, um, we'd go to California and we would like stealth camp on the beaches, and we'd just drink, or we would just eat tuna and bananas to survive, essentially, and just spend no money. And it was just crazy. It was intense, but like part of that, I felt like I built some dad lure, if you know what I'm saying. And I know, I know that those were things that attracted my wife to me, was the fact I did stuff like that. And it suddenly it felt like it clicked. And so I'm not somebody who's uh like this is not like an anti porn or masturbation message. It's more about like stewarding this angst, because if you do certain things, you will curb the angst, which will stop you from doing things that will develop you into getting the thing you actually want. Does that
Mm,
make sense?
yeah.
Um, so that's kind of like that was, I think, like the big theme of that video is like it's okay for this uncomfortable angst to be brewing, because it has a purpose if you give it that purpose. And so that was like my big message. Um, do you have a you marry
Yeah.
marauders? Oh, sorry,
Yeah. So
my brain.
I Eric Porter, who was actually the last guest on the channel, he's the head coach for the University of Mary Marauders. And
Oh,
he
cool.
had sent he did one of the most unique things that I've ever seen done. And they were doing a little fundraiser for their team, don't raising money, so they
Mhm.
can do their team activities throughout the year. And I donated a little bit of money, and their athletic department like sent that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I don't, that it was like a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
thing, and then a handwritten note like thanking me. This is
Oh, yeah.
this picture of Rafa here is also from
Yeah,
Eric.
yeah. Oh,
Um,
cool.
we had gone down to Arizona maybe like 4 years back, and I think we paid for the rental car or something like that, and he stayed with us, my
Oh,
wife and
cool.
I, or I guess it was my girlfriend at the time. But
Yeah.
yeah, then he, as a thank you, he got me that poster. I'm like, let's
Oh,
go.
that's
It's
cool.
it's it's my decoration.
Is
I
he
need
your
to find
favorite?
something. What?
Oh, yeah. Is Raphael your favorite?
He used to be my favorite tennis player, but now I would have to go with Carlos Alcaraz. Do you follow much tennis like at all?
I have not followed it. I've honestly stopped following a lot of professional sports. I think okay, what happened in college, storyteller John time. It was the year that the Saints put the bounty on Brett Favre.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
And I would watch the Vikings with my dad every Sunday. It was like clockwork. We would watch it. And so this was my freshman year in college. So I wasn't even watching with my dad anymore. I was just watching with a friend. And I just remember, I think it was that year, or maybe it was the year after. It was somewhere in that time frame where there's just like high hopes dashed to smithereens, which is literally any Vikings fans story. But
Right.
and I, it was a game, super disappointing, and I was like, wow, my whole night is ruined. And then I had like an epiphany where it's like, I don't have to submit my feelings to how the Vikings do. And so I was like, I'm not going to watch this next game. Uh, and I remember I was walking past our dorm lounge, and Aaron, who's the guy I would always watch the Vikings with, I remember walking by and he was like this. And I was just like, I feel so at peace right now. And ever since then, I stopped following. Like it was like a clear moment. I was like, I still cheer and I will watch games and stuff like that. And honestly, uh, uh, like the fact that like the three greatest tennis players of all time were like simultaneously playing, like I thought that was incredible. I would like catch games like that, but I don't follow it. I was never a great tennis player. I played a little bit, but frankly, I think I was always annoyed that people that I would dominate on the basketball field would, or on the basketball court, would like destroy me on the tennis court. And I did not like that. Plus, tennis was more of my parents' idea than mine. I really wanted to do track, actually. I wanted to high jump. That was like the thing I wanted to do. But my mom really disliked track. So I didn't get to do track until like my senior year. But
Yeah.
so
Did
yeah,
your mom,
that's
because your mom
my
played
tennis.
tennis, right?
Like casually, but she was actually a really good track. She won state in North Dakota. She won her, I think it was like her freshman and sophomore year. She won the high jump and like placed top three in the 100 meter or something like that. Like she was really good at track, but she there were like a lot of complicated dynamics that made her dislike it because of the social aspect, not because
Mm.
she disliked the athletic. And then for whatever reason, she carried that into parenting me. So
Mm-hmm.
I told her, I was like, Mom, my senior year, I went, so I didn't go out for track senior year, but then I was like, oh, no, I didn't go out for tennis senior year, but I was like, oh, I really want to go out for track. My mom would not let me. I was like, Mom, let me just do this thing. I'm so bored. And so with like 5 or 6 weeks left in the track season, she let me do it. And in practice, I think I did. 6'1", or I almost did 6'1", and the Red Wing record at the time was like 6'4", maybe 6'5". I was like, dude, if I would have had 4 years to do this, I was doing it in like cross trainers too. I had no track shoes. Like if I would have done this, I think I could have probably at least tied or gotten close to the record. I was like
Mhm.
power jumping over it, like no arch. I was kind of bummed, but
So
yeah.
how many years of tennis did you play? Because I remember in middle school you were definitely played. Did you play all
Yeah.
the way to your junior year?
I played. I think I played. I think like maybe 2 or 3 years. Honestly,
Okay,
I really didn't enjoy tennis.
sure.
Like it's, I just like kind of. We were playing one of the Rochester teams, and I got matched up. This was either my sophomore or junior year. I got matched up to with like a seventh grader or sixth grader, dude. And the way I would just charge the net. I have a pretty decent wingspan, and I'm athletic and quick, and so I would charge the net, and I would, like try to do like little drop shots, make people work, and just try to be big. This kid kept beaming me, dude, at the net, and it got me so freaking pissed off. And he was so cocky. I'm like, dude, I could hurt you right now. If this was a not a gentleman's sport, I would be hurting you. But after that, I came home from that meet and I told my mom, I'm like, I don't want to play tennis anymore. It's stupid. I hate it. And so, yeah, that was kind of the end. That if that kid is out there listening to this podcast, you ruined it for me, just so you know.
I mean, I
I
think you are right though. With you can have these nerdy little dweebs who are just
oh,
unreal tennis players because there's really
dude,
no physical like. I mean, there is a physicality
no.
in tennis, but it's not like basketball or
Oh no.
football or where
Yeah.
you have to,
It's different.
right. So it's
It's
super
very different.
frustrating. And
Yeah. And then they're like, "Father, I need to go play all year long in the indoor thing." And then he's like, "Of course, son. Here's $1,000 to buy to hire a pro to teach you." And then me, I'm not touching a tennis racket year round until tennis season, and I'm just trying to like go off of all raw intensity and strength and power, and it just there's something demoralizing about that when it's like, nope, your intensity, your power, it means nothing here.
yeah. And you brought up, going to track and immediately, that first year you're at 6'1" for height. And a lot of that was probably because one, basketball, you work on your jumping
Yeah,
and stuff in basketball, but two, you were an Olympic lifter and you
yeah,
started that at
yeah,
some point. I don't
yeah.
really remember when, but yeah, what was your origin story
Oh
for
yeah.
Olympic lifting?
I think it was like probably around the summer of, I think it was the summer before or after our eighth grade year. And my brother Ben had moved home, and he met a guy, Jordan Yeomans, who like placed nationally at one point from Red Wing. And he met him, and Jordan was telling him like, "Oh, I do Olympic lifting," and Ben was like interested, so Ben started going. And then I think Ben only went a few times, and then he told us about it. And Ben said, "Hey, man," he said, "John, if you really want to learn to dunk, if you want to be able to dunk and stuff like that." Sorry, my computer is like dying. Um, he's like, "John, if you want to like dunk and stuff like that, you should do Olympic lifting." And I was like, heck yeah, I want to dunk. And so showed up, and I just kind of I did it, and I enjoyed it, and I just kind of kept doing it. So in Red Wing, there's a guy, John Drews. He was my coach. He was in the USA Minnesota Weightlifting Hall of Fame in the 80s. He got inducted. He's had um multiple state titles, multiple guys go to nationals. He's had guys on the USA team. He himself was a USA team coach back in the 70s or 80s or something like that. And he just does it for free. He's got a little room off the side of his garage. And so I started, and I would do it all year because I was homeschooled. Even in high school, I wasn't like ninth grade. I didn't go full time. I would like go half and half. And so on my homeschool days, I would go and I would train in the morning, and then in the afternoon, I would come and do basketball. And I kind of yeah, I just kind of kept doing it. And during the summer and spring, I would in fall I would up my volume, and then during the basketball season I would go to like 2 days a week. And then out of season I would do 3 days a week, and I just got so much stronger and athletic. It was crazy. When I started seeing a direct correlation between my squat going up, and suddenly I was like starting to bounce. And so yeah, those all those things definitely would have helped me be a really good uh like high jumper.
Hmm.
I was never like a super great 1 foot jumper. Like I was okay. I could dunk off 1 foot, but I was a much better 2 foot jumper. And that was in part because of the Olympic lifting, because it's so
Interesting.
dynamic. Yeah. So I had my first competition last weekend, first comp in 12 years. So last time I did a competition, I was in high school, and I killed it, dude. I qualified for nationals, I think. I snatched 301 pounds, and I clean and jerked like 360 or something like that. I wanted a bigger clean and jerk. I I missed the jerk part is like from shoulders to overhead. I missed I so I cleaned, it was I think 375. I cleaned it pretty easily actually. It wasn't too bad. But then I missed the jerk, which was kind of a bummer, but I hit my goal number. So like they take your top snatch and your top clean and jerk, and they combine them, and that's your total, and whoever has the biggest total wins. And I really wanted a 300 kilo total. They do it in the metric system. I wanted a 300 kilo total, and I got it. So I was very pumped about that. I don't know if I'll compete a whole lot more. It's kind of more like just wanting to know if I can still do it.
Hmm.
That makes sense.
Yeah. In part of lifting, and you you focus a lot, or at least on the Olympic lifting, it's less about, maybe your upper body and more about, like you said, clean
Yeah.
and jerking, snatching, stuff like that. Um, which kind of leads me into my next question. Beefcake Sensei is the name of your
Yeah.
accounts. How'd you
Yes.
come up with Beefcake Sensei?
This was in the dropout years. So I was watching another YouTuber. I kind of, this kind of goes into the horny angst thing. So there was a period of my horny angst years where I was trying to get into parkour and like power move breakdancing. Do you know what power moves are? It's like spinning on your head and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean,
Power,
now that you've said it, yes, but I guess I don't know
yeah.
what power moves are.
Yeah, there's like I'm not gonna go deep into it, but there's like a couple different forms of breakdancing, and there's power moves are like those guys that like spin on their head and do like the
Mm,
crazy stuff. And that's what I was really interested in, also with some parkour. So there was a guy that I who had a YouTube channel. I think his name's like Pygmy or something like that. And he was doing something like a tutorial on something, and he like landed something, and he like looked at the camera, and he said, beefcake booty pop extreme, or
mm.
something like that, or beefcake booty pop or something like that. And so I thought that was really funny. So I made a hashtag, beefcake booty pop extreme, and I lived in a house with a bunch of my friends, and so we all kind of just used this term. And then we were in a debate one time about I think who coined the term, and I think and I was like, no, I did it. I'm the beefcake sensei. And then in doing that, I like coined the beefcake sensei term. And yeah, my YouTube has been Beefcake Sensei for yeah, a long time. I think over 10 years or close to 10 years at this point. And then the Instagram, I was like trying to decide, because I stopped posting my lifting stuff on my personal Instagram because I made it private. Nobody was really interested in it, and I was just kind of like, but I like posting it and just like random people seeing it. It's just kind of funny. And
Hmm.
so I just like made the Beefcake Sensei Instagram, and yeah, from there it just kind of took off. People thought the name was really funny. It's funny because I have been exposed to the name for so long. I don't like it is funny, but because I've just been using it for so long, I
Hmm.
think it loses its novelty, because it's like I've been Beefcake Sensei on Instagram for 10 years at this point. Like that's
Hmm.
crazy. And I would have never like it's a good thing I'm not choosing my name now because I probably wouldn't go with something like Beefcake Sensei. It's
Mhm.
super unprofessional and but it's funny, it's a great name, so I have no regrets, but yeah, that's how that came about.
Yeah. Do you have any goals for your accounts, your social media accounts? You said you kind of want to keep it as a hobby and you don't want it to be work, per se, but
Yeah.
you can still have good growth and stuff with
Yeah.
a
Yeah, yeah.
hobby.
Right. I mean, I would love to make money doing it. I've made a little bit of money selling some programs and I've looked at doing some partnerships, but I also want it to be like true to my values. Like I don't want to sell stuff that I don't believe in. I don't want to I don't want it to be I don't know. I don't want it to be feel like cheap, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Um so but I mean, I have a program that I'm working on. It's called the Ultra Moist Fascia Protocol. Kind of there's like these guys in the fitness realm and they're called kind of called fascia bros, functional fitness people. And I mean, I think personally, my philosophy with exercise is do what is effective for you, helps you reach the goals you want to do. But the my problem with these functional fitness gurus and fascia guys is they make these absurd claims that are just they're absurd. And so I like making fun of them a little bit. I try not to be mean about it, but I like making fun of him a little bit. So the name is the Ultra Moist Fascia Protocol, and that's going to be a really fun program. It's going to have like sprinting, jumping, weightlifting. Yeah, it's going to be just like strength stuff, upper body training. It'll be pretty fun in my opinion. So hopefully I'll have that done in the next month or so. But um, some other goals. Yeah, I mean, I tried out for USA bobsled last spring. Did I tell you this?
No.
Yeah, I tried out for USA bobsled last spring. I did not get invited to the second phase. But a buddy that I did it with, dude, he was in Europe just like a couple weeks ago. He's been in Europe for the last like 2 months competing in bobsled. He made it all the way to the team. I was like, of course. He did not make the Olympic team though, which is obviously a bummer. But so I might try out for the USA bobsled team again. Um, I have not fully committed to it because with two kids and a wife and a job, I mean, that would be complicated. But at the same time, I'm kind of down for it. My wife is super supportive. She's like, she actually was one of the primary reasons why I tried out because I'm like, no, I can't do that. And she's like, no, you really should. So she's
Why
the reason
why
why I finished my
bobsledding?
college degree. Um, I mean, it's like I think it fits into my natural giftings. So I'm a power. I'm more of like a power athlete. I'm athletic. I'm dynamic. Um, and you can become a really good bobsledder without a lot of skill. I mean, there's skill obviously, but like to get
Mhm.
yourself in the door, it's more about your physical outputs. So like, having close to a 40-inch vertical, running a 4 6 40 yard dash, stuff like that. My biggest deficit is definitely the sprinting because I have no sprinting background. And so when I graduated high school, I was like 270 or no, not 270, 170. I was like 170. But now I'm 235 as of this morning. And uh so like having to learn how to sprint, like sprint properly. I've been doing a lot of sprinting this last year, and honestly, it's been a ton of fun. It's like really fun. I ran a 4.83, I think, or 4.84 40-yard dash, which was really cool. Like at 230, like that's moving pretty well.
Yeah.
As a 30-year-old too, dude. Like my first time ever doing 40-yard, like I'd never done a 40-yard dash before. So I think it would be cool if I could get my 40-yard dash sub 4.8. I'll probably cut down to like 220 or something like that. If I could get my broad jump, my standing broad jump to right now, my PR is 10. At this weight, it's 10. So if I could get it to like 10.5 or something like that, I think I have a really good chance at least getting invited to, it's called the rookie camp.
Mm,
And even if I didn't make it through the rookie camp, I'd be stoked. Just like
yeah.
getting in there because it's most of those guys are like D1 or former professional sprinters and football players.
Mm.
So it's like
So
getting in that group as a 30-year-old would be sick.
yeah, how'd you hear about? You said maybe a buddy, maybe I missed this, but like, how'd you hear about the
Oh, no,
bobsled
no.
thing?
I heard about it because a guy that's on the team follows me.
Oh,
Um, and we were just chatting because I hit a pretty good snatch, and he's like, "Oh man, he's like, you actually could be good at this," or I can't remember exactly what he said, but he kind of got the ball rolling type of
mm,
thing. So yeah, that's kind of like one of my like soft goals. If things go well, I might try out for bobsled, but
yeah,
we'll see.
yeah. One thing that I came up with in preparation to this conversation is, I keep on referring to that YouTube video, just because I think it was a bomb video, but you talked about cardio in it a little bit and running like a 7 minute and 30-second mile, or that was like a goal of yours
Mm,
maybe going into this year.
yeah, yeah.
And during my and I'll name this segment Christmas conversations.
Uh,
Maybe I'll bring this up in future interviews as well, but
yeah.
I think it was last year or the year before during Christmas, I had always claimed that I could run a sub 6 minute mile.
Dude, that would be insane, Isaac. That would be
Yeah.
insane.
Well, so in high school I did do that. It was maybe like 5:52 or 5:48, something like that.
You
And so
did?
now,
Holy crap, dude. You were better
so
than me. I think the best high school mile I did was 6:20 or something like that. You said a sub six?
yeah,
You did a
sub
sub
six.
six.
So
That's really impressive.
I brought that up at Christmas. I'm like, oh yeah. My cousins were like kind of roasting me a little bit, and they're like, "Do you think you can still do that?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, easy." But what was your goal? You said 7 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yeah, I'm a pretty big guy right now, dude. And I've never been great. I mean, like if at 230, if I'm hitting like a low sevens, I would be happy with it. That might be a little soft, but I think right now, actually, I probably could hit a mid sevens. I'm like in decent shape. I've been kind of sick, but like if I was, I think I could probably. I don't know though. And now I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, yeah. For
Unfortunately, the weather's way too bad for me to go out there and try it
yeah.
out. So
For for the record,
lucky
I
me,
can definitely not run a sub 6 minute while I'm too
dude.
big right now.
Yeah.
But
How
another
much do you
Christmas
weigh right
conversation.
now?
What?
How much do you weigh right now?
I weigh probably like 225, but it's not like
Yeah,
lean like you where you're jacked. Like mine's 225 and fat.
it's okay, Isaac.
Yeah.
There's
Like my form of cardio is tennis. I probably play like once or
oh
twice
yeah,
a week. Um, and in the summer, my physique is way better than in the
oh
winter,
yeah,
just because I play so much more. And like
yep,
I need to
yeah,
like compete. I don't like just working out. Like I like to like
yeah.
compete in doing something. Um, but another Christmas conversation is, when your family gets together, do you ever, and touched on this before, where you have brothers that are 6'9",
Yep.
six
Yeah.
four, 6'6", I think 6'8". Do
Yeah.
they ever, give you crap that you're the shortest of your siblings, or at least of the
They
boys?
they used to, but I mean, I've compensated so much. Like I deadlift 615. I have a blue belt in jujitsu. Like I could kick
Ooh,
any of their butts. Like I could yeah, I could kick their butts in like an actual fight or wrestling competition or whatever. So I don't they used to give me a little crap, but I joke how it's like I'm 6'2", but I have like kind of like a little man syndrome because I grew up in a house of giants.
mhm.
And it is funny. Like I think my personality definitely was impacted by being like 7 inches shorter than all my brothers. Um,
Do,
but yeah, they'll give me some crap, but then I'll just remind them who could kick their butt, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, especially doing jujitsu. Do you follow any sort of like MMA or anything like that? I know you said you didn't watch a ton of like professional
Yeah.
sports.
When I was so I haven't trained jujitsu in like a year and a half, But when I would stay up to date with like what was happening in like the jujitsu world, but I haven't done that so much recently. Um, I was thinking of they're at the jujitsu gym I was at. They're starting a judo class, which I don't know if you're familiar with that, but that sounds really fun. I was kind of getting a point in jujitsu where the reason why I started jujitsu was it's like I want to know how to handle myself if I get into a physical altercation.
Hmm.
And I was getting to a point where it's like I feel like now it's more about competing than like a physical altercation. And there's
Hmm.
definitely an overlap, but it just wasn't itching the itch that I needed. And so that's kind of like why I was like, oh, I should give judo a try or something like that. But
Hmm.
I think I would actually like competing in judo. But
Yeah. And
um
that judo's kind of like throws and stuff like that, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's closer to wrestling. Just you're wearing a gi, and it's a cool sport. Also, with my Olympic lifting background, I feel like I have a ton of power that could be used in some like even like I would wrestle, in jiu-jitsu there is some wrestling and I would wrestle some guys who were wrestlers and they were just kind of like, "Holy crap, dude, you're hard to move." And it's like, that's what happens when you squat over 500 pounds. You become a hard person to, and also if you're athletic, it's like you're hard person to maneuver. But
Hmm. Yeah.
yeah,
And John, like we've been talking for an hour. I really appreciate your time and you doing this. I got one last question for you. I always
yeah.
end pretty much all the interviews that I do with this question, but do you have any specific shout outs that you would like to put out into the world?
Specific shout outs. I mean, my wife, dude, she's been a game changer. The Bible says, "He who finds a good wife finds a good thing," and I've definitely found a good thing. Like, I mean, my life has been so greatly enhanced. And this is not me simping for her, but honestly, if there was a person to simp for, in my opinion, I would definitely simp for her. Um, yeah, she's like a great mother. She loves my kids so well. She loves me so well. She's talented. She cooks good food. She's interesting. We picked up knitting. We're trying to knit together. Like that's our one of our new things. We're like, we need less TV based hangouts. Let's knit. And so, I mean, technically you can watch TV and knit too, but yeah, she's just fun. Definitely my best friend. So like that would probably be my biggest shout out is
Yeah,
my wife.
I love it.
If she
And
watches this, I don't even know if she will, but
yeah, and yeah, my shout out is you for coming on and again doing this. This is awesome and hearing and just kind of catching up. I've talked with you probably like one time since we've graduated high school.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's it's awesome hearing all the adventures that you've been on and yeah, shout out to you. Thank you so much for coming on, John.
yeah. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. This was
Yeah.
fun.